Haters said it can't be done. Some might have said, oh, you can't do that. That's unlawful, unreasonable. But boy, were they all wrong. And I'm here to prove to you that they're all wrong. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to the fully vaccinated episode of the Mates Race podcast, number 33. Thank you very much. Welcome one, welcome all. I do know that I skipped an episode. I will address that, but for the meantime, let's take a lap. Let's celebrate, an in memoriam. Probably not an in memoriam. That might be a bit insensitive, but we did it, folks. Wife and I are fully vaxxed, and we are ready to party, which is great. Feels good, but at the same time, feels like nothing has changed because we're still not allowed to go out and do anything. But that's fine. We're not going to let that ruin our vibe. I guess that's it. That's the episode. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see you guys next week. Feels really good, honestly. I guess that's the whole end goal of this whole fucking pandemic, right? Get vaccinated, move on, folks. Some might disagree with that statement. But no, it's like, obviously we want to get vaccinated because, we understand how scientists work, and to be honest, I'm too fucking dumb. So I let the scientists deal with it, and I'm like, you know what? We'll get vaccinated so I don't die. It helps with our immigration to Canada as well, because we don't have to do a hotel quarantine. Because boy, people will complain about that $3,000 for 2 weeks in Australia for hotel quarantine. Canada was 2,000 Canadian dollars for 3 nights. So glad I don't have to fucking do that. Can save some money. I don't care if I'm microchipped or if I'm going to die in a couple of years. I save that fucking money. Save that money by Little Dicky. Play softly in the background. Thank you very much. But I took a week off. I know I said I'd do anything that I can to keep this going every single week, but I needed a break. Because, this whole episode is just going to be catch up over the last couple of weeks. So what happened, obviously, is Melbourne had an earthquake that honestly scared the living fuck out of me, because I've experienced earthquakes before. I'm going to be like that guy. It's like, when I've been overseas, but it's true, in my travels in different countries, I have experienced earthquakes, but I never really felt them. It was more so like, you'd feel like a slight vibrate, and someone was like, "Oh, that was an earthquake." I'm like, "Really? Was it?" But yeah, magnitude 6, you feel that shit. And it's really funny because, like, for us, there's a lot of construction happening in our area at the moment. So at first, I thought it was just like a truck idling at the front. Because, for some reason that shakes our house. It goes to show how, poorly built this house is. And then all of a sudden, the bar cart from downstairs started rattling, and I was like, "Oh, nah, this ain't a truck. This is an earthquake." And got Caitlin to run outside. Because again, I know you're not supposed to run outside during an earthquake, but Australia in general is not built for an earthquake. Like, these buildings can crumble. So I felt like that was the safest move in that time. But yeah, that whole day, and like all the fucking protests at the moment, like just the absolute dumb fuckery going around with the protests. I was like, I needed a break from everything. So logged off social media and everything, and man, did that cleanse me better than taking ivermectin. So, because once you take ivermectin, that cleans out your insides, and boy, that being off social media for a week does even more than what ivermectin could do to your intestines, let me tell you that. It was actually really good because all I've been able to do during this whole lockdown is just doom scroll, because, creative industry has been one of the most affected industries, probably the most affected industry, right? If you include like entertainment. During this whole thing, and like, yeah, it's not like a fucking reach for sympathy or whatever, but it definitely does fucking suck, even though we're all kind of in the same boat. When was I tailing off for that? Again, a bit rusty because I took that. Yeah, so I just took the week off because I couldn't deal with all that bullshit going on, because it's like, yeah, I'm not employed. I haven't been employed for a long time. I haven't been able to do any work in a long time, just like my colleagues. So I'm already in a pretty vulnerable position mentally. And then when you open your phone and you just see just a plethora, I think that's the right word to use, just like a massive amount of shit happening, I had to check out, because I was like, I'm either going to check out of my socials or check out of life. So which one's it going to be? Just saying, keeping it 100 with you. But no, I'm good. And it's weird because I've been one of those people that's like addicted to social media. I'm not going to fucking sugarcoat that, because I felt like I needed to be always on social media because of my job, which is true to a degree, but I think I was just using it wrong. And I hopped back on it today, again for the first time in a week, and I was like, I didn't really miss much. I didn't really miss being off it at all. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'll keep it up. Maybe I'll just keep it in moderation. Who knows? But yeah, I haven't done any like fucking self-reflecting or anything that deep during this week. I just wanted to take a week off and just chill, and I did. It felt fucking great. But we're back in it, folks. We're back in the motherfucking hot seat, as one might say. It's funny because Caitlin just before was like, "What's all that crashing going on upstairs?" I'm like, "It's not. It sounds worse than it is. I'm literally just sitting in this chair, but this is like a shitty, like $50 office chair from IKEA. It's like the cheapest one you can get, and it just makes a lot of noise. And every time that I move, so trying to keep that shit to a minimum. But I've got a great show kind of lined up. Well, I think it's great. If you don't think it's great, cool, go fuck yourself. I don't care. But let's play catch up on what's been happening. So, as I said before, I got vaccinated. It was a fun experience because the day we were supposed to get our vax, we get a call from the doctor's office saying, "Hey, you know how you booked in your double vax and this is it? This is the end game for the pandemic for you?" Jokes. There was a positive case and we have to close the doctor's office and do a deep clean. We're like, fuck. But because we got the home brand, no frills version of the vaccine, that AstraZeneca, there's 1 billion appointments around. So we found a place 2 minutes up the road from us that were taking bookings. We're like, yep, fuck it, let's do it. And managed to rebook our appointment basically for the same time as we originally had. And yeah, it was funny because the nurse was very wholesome, and she was nurse. I keep saying nurse. Caitlin corrects me and says doctor. So sorry. I do apologize to the doctor that administered our life-saving vaccine. But she was really lovely, really wholesome. Her name's Lynette. Shout out to my mum. Same name, So yeah, it was funny because only because I got like tattoo shamed, okay, and she didn't say anything like, "Oh, you're tattooed, you're a filthy fucking criminal," which I've had in the past. No, she was like, "Oh, you got tattoos, oh, that's nice." And then my wife, who has much nicer tattoos than I do, she got even more compliments, and she kind of backtracked on what she said about mine, because I was first up in the hot seat, then Kate went up next. And yeah, what's the deal with that, doc? Give me a life-saving injection and then just absolutely body me with your fucking insults. So that was my getting double vaxxed experience. But yeah, no, really hyped. Obviously I encourage everyone to go out and get vaccinated. Basically, if you're someone, I'm trying not to be as hot-headed anymore, because I'm vaccinated now, I'm very much like, you are just a selfish prick if you don't want to get vaccinated, but I'm a lot less hot-headed. But listen to, you know, doctors, not fucking people on Facebook. Go get vaccinated if you do so want to yourself. But just so if you are anti-vax, that's fine. But just so you know, this is where it's at. If you disagree with science and you yourself aren't a scientist and you don't have any qualifications in the matter and you don't match the same level of research to come to your conclusion of being anti-vax and scientists do, you're not being like an anti-vax person. You're just wrong. Okay? You're not arguing with someone with science, okay? You're just someone who's in the wrong. Just so you know that. That's why I got this shot, because I keep saying time and time again, I'm too fucking dumb to do any of that shit. I just trust what they say. Lo and behold, it's working. If you look at the stats, because I am a massive stat nerd, which is weird because I failed math in high school terribly. If anyone from here, if you're from my high school and you're listening, you can probably back up that statement how bad I am. And I actually tried with math, which is the funny thing, because it was just like this weird stigma that, you know, you have to do well in high school. Spoiler alert, it's been like 12 years and I'm fine and I did terribly. So don't let that shit define you. But yeah, anyways, that's what I mean. I'm a massive stat nerd now, which is surprising. And you look at the stats of people being vaccinated and their case numbers going down and blah, blah. I don't know. You can fucking do your own research in that way. I'm getting terribly blown out now. I'm looking at my monitor because the sun's coming out. It did not equate to this, but you know what? I couldn't be fucked. Changing it because, you know, this is just how my podcast is. All right. So let's touch on Nicki Minaj's tweet, okay? Let's just stay on the vax thing for a little bit longer and then we'll hop off the train, okay? We'll get off at the next station. So, if you haven't seen, Nicki Minaj made this viral tweet because she's also anti-vax, saying that, you know, her cousin's best friend got the vaccination and now his balls are swollen and he can't produce babies. He's come, was it impotent or whatever that word is? Can't produce babies. And the fiance called off the wedding. She's like, nah, if you can't nut in me and grow a baby, I'm out. I'm out of this bitch. Which is funny because the guy's symptoms, you know, resembles certain STIs that you might get on a bachelor party. Just saying. But it's not so much the craziness of the tweet. It's the time for me, okay? I don't think more people have spoken about this. Nicki Minaj made that insane tweet at 3 a.m., okay? That is real stoner conspiracy hours, okay? For all my fellow stoners out there, for all my past and present and future people that love hitting the Gatorade bottle, okay? We all know that there's a certain time in the night, actually not even if you're a stoner as well, more so just in general, 3 a.m. is when the real conspiracy hours come on. You might be, you know, stoned or at a party or just stone cold sober and, you know, you have no life because of this fucking pandemic and you are just in endless rabbit holes of YouTube, okay? So this is what it all equates to, but 3 a.m. are those hours where you come up with weird shit, all right? So I'm just saying, there is some level of, you know, obviously no one believes her. Even the government of Trinidad, actually investigated it because it was such a pressing issue for them, and they were like, we can't see any resemblance here. So that was a very, you know, interesting thing, but it goes to show that it's those hours should be offline. 3 a.m. should be, you know, offline, which is funny because during those times when I was graduating high school, I was partying a lot, as probably I don't know if most teenagers do it now, but I certainly was, from ages 16 to whatever, just partying a lot. And yeah, but that was a time before social media. Like social media was around, but it wasn't as it was today. But, you know, I just remember just being fucked up with my mates, most likely stoned, just around a table in the backyard, just talking about conspiracy theories. One of which I'll probably remember until I die, was we came up with this massive, elaborate plan in case a zombie apocalypse came to our hometown. You know, bold of me to assume that we all were just going to live in our hometown forever. I don't know, maybe some of those people still do live there, but I sure as hell don't. I wanted to get out the first opportunity that I could. So yeah, that goes to show what those kind of hours are made for, and that's why it should be offline, because the next day you're like, oh, probably a bit ridiculous, let's be honest. So anyways, talking about drugs, all right, if you're wondering, well, you know, I've basically just spoiled it for you, but if you are wondering, if you're a younger person, you know, that's listening to this podcast, you might be in your, you know, early adulthood ages, what is, you know, like 18 to 21 kind of realm, your early adulthood life, you're just trying to learn what the fuck is what is life, you know. Spoiler alert, no one fucking knows, and I turn 30 in 2 weeks, so there you go. But if you are young and you're listening to this, the answer is yes. Okay, when you hit 30, you and your mates still talk about weird shit like drug use. Okay, it's just that part of your life maybe just doesn't go away. Maybe it's just me and my friends. Maybe me and my friend circle are just really fucked up. But we still talk about the same kind of conversations that we had when we were younger. I don't know. Maybe I've just completely just confessed to everyone that I have not grown up. To be honest, I don't want to fucking grow up. You know, time is just an illusion, basically. But it's kind of true though. Like, you know, when I was younger, what my expectations were when I was 30 compared to what they are. Yeah, no, I definitely don't feel 30. But anyways, what I'm trying to say, what I'm trying to come around at too, is even though me and my friends, like, we're in adulthood, a lot of my friends are married, got kids now, yada, 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 but we still kind of talk about the same shit. And I don't know how this conversation came about, but I saw, and I won't disclose names here, so one of my friends with his wife and their kid at the park the other day. It's all good, we're vaxxed, don't fucking snitch on us to Daddy Dan. But we were discussing like, if for some reason you just wanted to start dealing drugs again when you're all married, like how do you do that and keep that away from your wife? You know, if you're trying to do it discreetly, you know, Walter White style, how would you do it? And I don't know where this stoner thought came out of, but we were saying it'd be funny if, you know, you had a grow house in your garage, but like the whole setup is you're just trying to keep your wife away from it. But one day your wife discovers your stash, you know, your grow house in the garage, and you're just like, no. And she's like, what is this? And it's like, it's not what you think. And she's like, well, what is it then? It's like, this is not a grow house. This is a distraction for all the ketamine that I'm hiding under the tables. I don't know why. I just found that fucking hilarious. But it'd be funny. It's just like, would you even grow cannabis then? Or would you just grow a plant that looks like cannabis, and then underneath that is like where you have all your cat, and like, I don't know, maybe like it's a 2-level kind of situation where you have a garage as your grow house, and then you have a basement underneath, and that's the meth lab. Just saying. So if you're wondering what it's like to be almost 30, now you know. Okay, so we have a special edition of Why Are You the Way That You Are? Now, if you're new to this podcast, welcome. What's up? I hope you're enjoying this episode so far. If you are, please give me a rating on iTunes. I'd really appreciate it. Tell some friends about it. There's a YouTube version as well if you're watching. Hi, what's up? Like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff. But we have this segment on the podcast called Why Are You the Way You Are, where every week I try and find something weird and wacky on the internet that I feel like more people should know about, and we can all sit there and wonder, why are you the way that you are? there's an email, materacepod@gmail.com. Go ahead. Send me your suggestions and we'll see how we go. See if it lands on the show. Now, for the 2 weeks that this has been a segment, I've just talking about the Paul brothers, but we're going to divert. We're going to go in a different direction. So, obviously, I'm a filmmaker. That's my job. That's my career. If you don't know, now you know. So, for some reason, I'm in this Facebook group for wedding videographers. I don't know how I kind of came across it. I've only filmed 1 wedding in my whole life, and it was only because a friend of mine was like begging me to do it. But basically, every now and then, something comes along that group where I feel like it might be interesting to discuss with more people. Now, as a married man myself, we didn't want a flashy wedding. We just wanted something where we want the ceremony to be as quick as possible and have a nice party. We didn't want anything like crazy and flashy over the top as some of these like weddings that you see around do have. You know, they have like cars and all this crazy stuff. No, we just wanted to have just a big space to have a party with our mates with an open bar. Leroy agrees. He has just woken up because I'm recording this podcast later than I normally do. He's normally asleep by now. More on that later. Anyways, I'm getting way too distracted. But this, okay, he's really going for it, but that's all right. So this wedding has I need to deal with Leroy before we can continue. Okay. He's in my lap. That was a quick pause. Let's see if he stays here. So, one thing we definitely didn't want are those sparkly firework thingies that you see on every dance floor. We're like, nah, that shit is, I'm sorry, but that shit is tacky as fuck. And we like, nah, refuse to have that. I do apologize for anyone who has had that. We just didn't want to. So, anyways. This couple did, and someone shared a video in this Facebook group. What was the caption? It's like, we have some fireworks planned as a surprise for our guests, because all these things are always surprises to everyone. So, I'm going to play it, but I'll kind of describe to you. So it's the first dance, right? It's always the first dance that these sparkling fireworks go off. And it's nice, and everyone's having a good time. Remember, this is the first dance as a married couple. Big deal stuff. So they're having their dance, the fireworks are going off, and all of a sudden they stop because they have these crazy decorations hanging from the roof. And guess what happens? It catches on fucking fire. So, straight away, a server comes around with like a bottle of water and tries to defuse it. But the thing is, the decorations on the roof are made out of paper. So this shit goes from 0 to 100 so quick. I'm just going to play it and just commentate as it goes. So the couple are kind of just like looking up like, oh shit, that's on fire. And they're slowly walking away. Someone comes in with a fire extinguisher and music is cut out and everyone's starting to evacuate. And all of a sudden, the fire, this happened in the space of 10 seconds, the fire is caught on top of the whole fucking roof of the venue. And everyone's bailing out. There's like a couple hundred guests there. And yeah. And then the roof collapses onto the tables and it catches on fire. So but then the video kind of like cuts out. So I don't really know what happens after the fact. But that is, if you're wondering why you shouldn't have that stuff at your wedding, now you know. Don't have those fireworks stuff because it could cause a fire hazard. But man, like, I just kind of feel bad for the couple because obviously like a lot goes into a wedding and that shit would definitely, like, it would definitely be something that you look back on and laugh at in the future because we had stuff kind of go wrong on our wedding day. Like nothing major, but just stuff we found funny. Not a fucking fire at least. So it's very, oh yeah, that's when the roof collapsed. Oof. Yeah, that's crazy. That would definitely be the end of the night for sure. Yeah, like, but the frustrating part is that it did cut out because I have so many more questions. You know, did the rest of the venue catch fire? Did they manage to clear it and then they were able to continue the night, or did fire department have to rock up and then that was it? It was like the end of the night altogether. So many questions. Are the presents okay? Ooh, I would have been so gutted if those fucking presents like caught fire. But yeah, basically that was Why Are You the Way That You Are? Wedding edition of the podcast. Maybe looking back on it, maybe it's not as crazy as I anticipated, but as someone who's married, I know if that happened on my wedding day, oof, that would have been funny at a later date, some might say. So that was Why Are You the Way That You Are? Anyways, I am moving on to this segment because this is kind of not a part 2 of Why Are You the Way You Are, but this is kind of like a segment of why are white people the way that they are. So, okay, if you're not from Australia, I'm going to fill you in on something. We love our Cadbury chocolate. Our Cadbury chocolate is like the backbone of this fucking country, okay? And if you disagree with me, then you were wrong. So, everyone craves this Caramilk. Okay, I don't know what it is. I don't know what the fuck is in it. But all I know is that white people all over the internet lose their fucking minds over Caramilk. It was an item that was discontinued for a bit, and then it came back due to popular demand. People were like rioting in the streets for Caramilk, okay? And I've always trashed it because I've never understood it, because it's just white chocolate with caramel flavoring in it, okay? So I've never really understood it because I didn't think that was good. So I've always been a hater. But the thing is, I've never tried it. So, live on the air, we have a Caramilk bar. And we're going to see what this is like, okay? So let me just do a quick pose for the thumbnail of this podcast. And then we'll dive into the review, okay? Microphone out. All right, that was a good enough pose for the thumbnail, I do believe. Something along the lines of this, like. I don't know. I don't know how to pose for thumbnails. This is what I do at the end of every fucking podcast episode. But I wanted to keep the wrapper so people know that this is what they can expect for this episode. Anyways, I've always been a hater, but I've never tried it. Let's try it live on air. Okay, straight off the bat, just looking at it, this does not look appetizing, okay? It smells like white chocolate. Who in their right mind likes fucking white chocolate just on their own? Maybe have it in some kind of dessert, but not on its fucking own. Anyways, I've complained for too long. I've always been a hater. I've never tried it. Let's see if this shit is worth it. Let's see if this is if this is worth the hype from white people. Okay? It's so average. White people, come around. Come around. Come gather. I'm letting the flavor sit in my mouth. All right. Now all the white folks are here. I just got one thing to ask. What the fuck is wrong with you? What? Why is this worth fucking rioting over and getting Cadbury, an institution in this country, to bring this back? This is not worth it, okay? Just have, I don't know, a Black Forest or, I don't know, the caramel one. Just have like regular people flavor. Why do you always want the weird shit? Okay? Did a Kardashian tell you to take this? Because this is... Fuck, man. This is so underwhelming. I'm actually angry that this is what people in this country fucking rave, okay? I can name so many more chocolates that are better than this, okay? You don't need this shit. Mind you, I will eat it. I will eat the whole thing because I don't want to waste it because I didn't say it's shit. I said it's underwhelming, okay? It's still good. Like it's okay. But honestly, this and just eating like a plain block of chocolate, it's on the same fucking tier. Oh, fuck, that makes me so angry. All right, anyways, that was Caramilk Live. Let me know in the comments section if you agree with me, if you think Caramilk is overhyped, or if you are Caramilk till I die. Let me know. I really appreciate it. Actually, you know what? Don't let me know. I would rather not know. Yeah, people who like Caramilk are probably the same people who are like, oh, the spicy burrito at Guzman, oh, that's pretty hot. You know, like that's as far as their flavor palette might go. Okay? Fucking disappointment. Absolute disappointment. Anyways, I gotta move on. I wasn't getting really angry. So, got a couple of segments, a couple of things I want to talk about to wrap this up. We've been, back on we're still watching stuff because there's nothing else to do during lockdown. If you're wondering, in terms of traditional television, Caitlin and I watched The Block, and I'm just so not invested in that show anymore. But the only reason why we're watching it is because it's a constant in our lives and it gives us something to do every single night. So we've been watching that. But more importantly, we just finished 9 Perfect Strangers, which is on Amazon Prime. Sorry, I almost threw up on my mouth from having that fucking disgusting Caramilk. No, I'm kidding. It wasn't that bad. Maybe that was an overreaction of me getting angry about it. But I think it was more angry about the people who think it's the best. Anyways, we're talking about TV now. All right, we're moving on. So I don't want to... I can't even spoil 9 Perfect Strangers because it's a fucking whirlwind of a show. Shout out to my homie Matt, Matty B, who he's been my day oneer. I've got day one as my life, but that motherfucker has been with me since kindergarten. Okay, day fucking oneer. He told me about this show, and he's like, if you like weird thriller shit, watch that. And I did touch on it in a couple episodes ago, but we finally finished it because all the episodes finally came out, and boy, what a whirlwind. So Nicole Kidman, the whole premise of the show is like Nicole Kidman has like this sanctuary. Nicole Kidman is Russian, by the way, so that's also a very interesting kind of turn of events. So she has like this sanctuary thing that people go to. What the fuck? Retreats. That's what they're called. So she has this retreat. And basically all this crazy shit goes down there. Like the people that are there for a reason. Like they've been selected to go there. It's a very weird kind of, it must be something where like they open bookings, but they're very selective on who they choose due to the answers that they give in like a pre-screening process. So they're all like kind of connected in some weird traumatic way. But man, like that show goes in directions that I didn't even think it went. All you need to know is that there's a group of people. Melissa McCarthy's in it, which is really, really cool. It's good to see her in like kind of like a serious role. And speaking of drugs, they drug the guests as well, which is kind of funny. But that's not spoiling it. That happened. That's like a constant through the show. I'm just trying to think like how I can describe this show without being weird about it. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. All I know is that you need to fucking watch that show because that was incredible. Okay. Yeah, I'm just trying to think if there's anything I can really talk about. I'm probably the worst when it comes to actually reviewing films. because I don't know how to say stuff without spoiling it. So I won't do that. But something from like a technical standpoint of view, which I kind of picked up on, is the cinematography changes in every episode, which I found very interesting. They changed camera movements, they changed lenses, angles, every single episode. So that's something, if you're a nerd and you want to check it out, there's that. Did I talk about Little Rich in the last episode? Fuck, I don't listen back to my episodes, so I probably can't remember, but I will touch on it. Maybe we're still watching it during that process. I don't know. But basically, Little Rich is a documentary series, on Amazon Prime. It's about LuLaRoe, the pyramid scheme, and that is another fucking whirlwind. Basically, the documentary interviews the people that own the company, the employees, past and present, of the company, and then the people who are part of the pyramid scheme, past and present. And they interview family members, and holy shit, I've never watched a more in-depth documentary about a pyramid scheme in my life. I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, actually, it's a multi-level marketing company. No, it's a motherfucking pyramid scheme, okay? Call it how you fucking see it. So that... Ooh, jeez, what was that? So that show was also very interesting to see, you know, how people's lives were ruined and how people... Like, just the manipulation, man. There was like this one part that kind of fucked with me the most. It's like the people that were like the top earners. They were like, yeah, we were earning, you know, 50 grand a month, and we got told to spend all of our money to like flex online to show how well we were doing to entice more people to sign up. And I was like, fuck, what a fucking toxic workplace. Would you even call it workplace? But it kind of shines a light on like Mormonism. Is that the word? But it shines light on Mormons as a religion, because the people that own it are Mormon. And man, it's kind of made me hate religion even more. But that's super interesting to watch, because it's interesting to watch how much victim blaming and like just denial from the owners goes on. It's just like they put it all back on the victim. They're like, oh, this person went broke because of this and that, and because of this thing you said. They're like, they just weren't trying hard enough. What? What do you mean? You fucking preyed on them. Man, I could go on for ages about pyramid schemes, but like, you know, surprise, surprise, all they do is just prey on stay-at-home mums who are probably going through some shit of their own, and they're vulnerable in their own right, and they don't understand. Maybe the way they were brought up, they weren't told to go seek help, but seek therapy, and they get preyed on as a vulnerable person by these type of companies. Whew. That's a whole nother fucking egg basket, whatever, to talk about. So something else I kind of wanted to touch on was the Emmys. Now, okay, keep in mind, for someone that's in the industry, I don't pay attention to the Emmys at all. Same as the Oscars, don't really pay attention too much, but for some reason, I read this article and it got me by surprise. So basically, with the Emmys, Ted Lasso won basically every comedy section. Pretty much all of them except for two. One, it just cleaned up. And I'm sorry, I watched Ted Lasso. It was good. I didn't think it was fucking amazing like that. And with drama, okay, now I'm a fucking idiot because I've already forgotten. The Crown. The Crown cleaned up the drama section. So I don't understand why those two shows were given so much of a limelight. The Crown I can kind of understand. I've never watched it personally. All I know is it's really good. I like how, you know, the Emmys should be based purely on my fucking opinion. But it was just weird looking. I'm like going through them now. Like, what? So one of them, the television movie was Dolly Parton's Christmas special, won an Emmy. I understand the industry's been affected and there hasn't been much stuff coming out. But there has been a lot of good stuff coming out, and it kind of blew my mind that they were like, okay, so for short form comedy drama or variety series, what makes you think won that? Okay, just think about it for a second. Was your answer carpool karaoke? Because it fucking wasn't mine. Why? Because they get the views because it's fucking late night television. I really didn't understand it at all. And in reality, RuPaul fucking cleaned up, which fuck knows why, because that dude is just, fracking like there's no fucking tomorrow. That's just personal opinion anyways. But I just don't but basically my point is, was the Emmys always like this, just like one person just basically wins all of them? Because I feel like that, I don't know, part of me just doesn't feel like that's right. Anyways, that was a really piss poor segment to kind of go on, so I'm going to wrap up this podcast in the last couple of minutes. So speaking of people who are rich and as shit like fucking RuPaul, something that I've learned is billionaires shouldn't exist. Now, I'm not going to be on some fucking socialist rant at the moment, but I kind of want to touch on this because I do think it's important from like a math perspective, right? I wholeheartedly agree now that billionaires should not exist, okay? And just to think about it before we go into it, people like Elon Musk and fucking Jeff Bezos and Richard Branson have $100 billion, okay? This fuckers are multiple in the billy. I'm just talking about one billy here. So let's break it down, right? Let's do the math. I was just sitting there one day and I wanted to do the math. Let's say to get to $1 billion, you earn $100 million a year for 10 years, okay? I know the grind is real. Yeah, the grind is totally real for that. So let's put that in perspective. You earn $100 million a year for 10 years. So I broke it down to per day. You would earn $275,000 a day for 10 fucking years straight. Who the fuck needs that much money? What are you doing with that much money? Could you even spend 275 grand in a day? I don't fucking think so. If I got 275 grand just in general, I probably wouldn't know what to do with it. Maybe use it as a deposit for a house. I don't know. But someone is getting that much money every single fucking day, which blows my mind, okay? Because I was doing the math as well. I want to calculate that here to get this right, okay? So let's say, for example, someone gave you $5,000 a day. Now that's a lot of money as well. $5,000 a day, right? If someone just says, there you go, in your pocket, $5,000 a day. That equates to $1.825 million a year. Now on paper, like compared to how many fucking millionaires and billionaires are out there, $1.8 million doesn't seem like much on paper, but that's $5,000 a day. Like, what do you, like, again, how the fuck are you spending that money? And I was like, wow. Then that's what kind of spiraled me down this path. And I was like, and that's when I came to the conclusion that billionaires should not exist. People should not have this much money ever, you know? I've always been kind of, I'm not going to say, oh, I'm a fucking philanthropist or anything like that, but I've always thought about it. I'm like, fuck, if someone gave me like $10 million, I would probably only keep like a couple million to set myself up for the rest of my life and then just donate the rest. Like, why would I need that fucking money, you know? Because even it's something crazy, like if you had $10 million and you kept a couple of million just in a savings account with a high interest savings account, you could earn like $500,000 a year. Or would that be off $10 million? You would earn $500,000. Still, it's a lot of money. Okay, you know, I was pretty fortunate to be in a position in my career when the lockdowns weren't happening. I was in a very fortunate position where I was earning more money than I ever thought would be possible to earn in my career. But I wasn't like super rich, but I was like, holy fuck, I don't have to even worry about money. You know, I can pay my bills, I can go out to eat, and I'm good. I'll always have money, you know, and it wasn't even like a lot of money. It just felt good not having to check my bank account. Like to be like, oh, can I afford this? I was like, yep, let's go. And that's probably a bad thing because, you know, I did burn through a lot of that money, but still. And that wasn't even that much money, like in retrospect. Let me do the math and then let me see if I should tell you all on the podcast how much it was. Wait, what? Doesn't make any fucking sense. What? Oh, actually, no, that does make sense. You can work it out. You can work it out and tell me what you think it was. But yeah, I don't know, man. Like again, billionaires and shit shouldn't exist. But you know, it would be helpful to have a lot of money right now, so I could help me with this fucking move to Canada. Which, you know, I'm gonna end on that as well. This is like late night advice with Warwick. Okay, consider this the final hours of the podcast. Advice with Warwick. Don't take any of this seriously or legally. This does not hold any legal weight to it. Please don't sue me. Section of the podcast. Okay, so Kayla and I were talking about this, and for some reason I want to fucking babble on for a minute about it. To put it to you simply, you can always run away from your problems. Don't think that the term "you can't run away from your problems" is like a viable thing. You can. Trust me. I've been doing it my whole life, and I'm so fucking happy. So, like, the context of this is obviously, you know, we're moving to Canada in a few short weeks now. It's only, by the time this episode comes out, it'll be just over a month, like a month and a couple of days until we move. So, I'm just going to try and, like, articulate this as well as I can. So, I moved from my little small town to Brisbane, to in New South Wales, to go to Brisbane to find what I was going to do with this film career, because I got accepted into a film school up there, and I ran away from all my problems in my hometown, the problems that I had growing up, and all that type of stuff. You know, okay. Disclaimer: I have been going to therapy for like the last 6 years now. Yeah, 6.5 years now. I have been going to therapy on and off when I feel like it's been needed. And trust me, go to fucking therapy. Okay? Don't listen to, you know, there's only so much like inspirational, motivational fucking in YouTube videos you can watch until that runs out. And you need to speak to a specialist, okay? So don't waste your time. Go see a fucking therapist, all right? Anyways, I'm babbling on. But I ran away from my problems and I moved there. And I'm sure in hindsight, my time probably wasn't the greatest, but I learnt a lot and I grew a lot, okay? And then the same thing when I moved to Melbourne, you know, that's when I started my career and I ran away from my problems that I was having in Brisbane as well. And it worked because things got better, and over time, it's such a cliche, but yeah, over time things get better. And now we're about to move overseas, same thing. You know, we've got problems here. They're trust me, not as fucking bad as it used to be. Problems still exist though, but this is like some weird fucking philosophical type of way to end the episode. But you know, it's running away from your problems, moving away is the best way to kind of gain perspective of your life about what way you want things to go, or you know, which way you want to be headed, what problems you might have, relationships that you want to end or relationships you want to start. The list goes on and on, okay? That's why I really cherished all my times touring, when I traveled the world with bands, because one was a lifetime goal, and two, unbeknownst to me, it let me gain perspective on what I wanted in my life, and I'm internally grateful for that. So what I'm trying to say is, don't listen to people who say, "Oh, you can't run away from your problems forever." That is true to a degree. You know, if you've been through some traumatic shit, or if you feel like something's not right with how my life is right now, go to therapy, okay? But you can absolutely 100% unequivocally run away from your fucking problems, and it works out for you, okay? That's what we're really excited about, you know. So there you go. That's my little advice. Thank you. Take that as you will. Wrap it up in the present. Throw it out the fucking window or take it on. But either way, I've been rambling on for 50 minutes now, so I've got to wrap this shit up. Thank you again so much for listening to this podcast. Thank you for rocking with me. Sorry I missed an episode. I'll be back next week, okay? Love you all. Remember, listen on iTunes, 5-star. Watching on YouTube, like, comment, subscribe. And again, that email is again, matesratespod@gmail.com if you want to submit anything to the Why Are You the Way That You Are segment of the podcast. Love you all very much. Have a motherfucking sick week. You're the coolest person in the fucking world. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. And I'll see you guys next week. Peace, love, bye.